Welcome to Black Tie Optional.
I'm Sydney.
I'm Colleen.
Let's get into it.
Do your research on your vendors. Figure out exactly who you are and what you want your day to look like.
And I'm like, oh, let me be the bad guy.
Oh, I'm always the bad guy.
I tell everybody I'm your wedding day scapegoat. If you don't want to do something, you say, oh, the photographer said we're not doing that today.
Yeah.
The more unified we are with other vendors on a wedding day, the better.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we have Faith Alexander with us.
Hello.
We're so excited that you're here.
I'm so excited that I'm here.
Could you tell us a little bit about you and how your business came to be?
Okay. We're just jumping right
Sure.
into
Right
it.
in, yeah.
Diving in.
We love that. We love that. This August will be 2 years full time
Heck
Okay.
yeah.
as Faith Alexander Photo, which
it.
honestly, I can't even believe I'm saying that, just like how, this whole journey
How much
came
you've
to
grown.
be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was a teacher for 2 years at a school here in Little Rock, and I just decided that wasn't for me. But I feel like, if I want to go way back to how I even picked up a camera in my hand, it was because I feel like I didn't have a journey like everyone else did, and I don't know. I mean, I feel like y'all can relate to this. Most of my friends went to college 4 years. They knew what they wanted to do freshman year, and then they were
Just got the job
out of
and
there,
went. Yeah.
onto the job, going to get their master's,
Yes.
all this kind of stuff. And one day I woke up and I realized that I wasn't graduating with all of them. I call it my tour day Arkansas. I literally went to almost every school
Yeah.
in the state of Arkansas, which is not the best thing. But, it got me
But
to
I
where...
feel like people can
hey,
relate to that.
Yes.
And networking. You
Yes.
probably met so many people.
Yes, and that's what I can say now. It's I have this one client and I love her so much. She comes to me for everything. I met her when I was at OBU.
Right.
And did I think that she was going to come to me for everything? She's my easiest client. She's like, just get me in front of the camera, do your thing, and I'm going to love it. And did I think that, back then when I was being 18, 19-year-old, just living carefree, that's what it would bring me? But yeah, no, I fully think that my journey led me to where I am right now. But I went to OBU, went up to A-State, barely went to school, never told anybody. I was ashamed of it back then,
yeah.
but now I'm just like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Then one day my friend took me to eat dinner and she was like, what are you going to do with your life?
Right.
I will never forget it. It was a rainy day at Walk in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And my best friend Kaylee sat me down and she was like, what are we going to do here? I'm a licensed hair cosmetologist. Sorry.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to say that, Kaylee. I know what you do. A cosmetologist. My other best friends were going to speech pathology school. My sister was AB student, at Fayetteville, gonna try to go to occupational therapy school. And then she went another route. But everybody was graduating. And then here I was still hanging out, having a good time. And that conversation kind of woke me up.
What a good friend, though.
Yes. I mean, and she's been my ride or die since 7th grade. But, and she was kind of on the same path as me too. School just wasn't our thing. And that's okay.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I feel like a lot of people think that you have to go to school for 4 years to do what you're going to do
Right.
the rest of your life. And yes, I'm thankful for those 4 years, but Garrett's going to kill me for saying this. Do I remember what I did in college algebra?
No.
Garrett still thinks that prepared me for this day. And I will give him that. I will give him that prepared me. But,
The connections and the experience.
Yes.
And
Right.
yes,
all
all
that.
got me to that. Well, then I called my mom and I said, it's time to move me home. So we moved me back I lived with my parents for a couple of years, during COVID and all that good stuff. And I finished at Henderson. I got my educational studies degree which I'm not using. And I started subbing at Fountain Lake, which is the school my mom taught at.
Oh.
And then I worked at a boutique called Simplicity in Hot Springs. I don't think it's there anymore. But the owner was like, I need someone to take stock pictures and I need someone to help me create my website.
Okay.
I had no clue what I was doing. Like, no clue. She had this old Nikon that literally, like, the f-stop, like, didn't even change. It was stuck at, like, 4 or 5, like, the whole time.
Right.
I had no clue what ISO was. Like, I had no clue about settings, anything. Like, I think, like, you know, the little dial at the top of your camera. I don't even remember what that was set on, but it was definitely not manual.
Yeah.
Right.
And I taught myself on that camera, and then come back to my best friend. She was starting, like, I feel like that's back when, like, influencing was, like, just now starting for, like, our age people. Yeah. And she started a little style page called K&H Style, and she had a Sony, and I shot all her pictures on that. And you know, I kept going and I kept going and I kept going. And my parents were like, well, why don't you get a camera? Like, that's like, you know, you can actually do stuff with. Well, I was like, no. I can't imagine, you know, taking people's pictures. Like, I don't think I would be good at it. Like, I just know these people, whatever. So a friend asked me to shoot my very first wedding with her. It was on a Canon, but it had a tripod. Like that attached to it.
Monopod or whatever.
Yeah. And so she was like, you can take that off of there, but like you don't ever shoot weddings. So I thought like you would kind of, you would like that. So, oh my gosh. Like looking back on this day, I was like, what in God's green earth was I thinking? Like,
I can just see like the long stick, just like
that. But then what I wore, like, which is another topic I feel like we need to talk about is wardrobe in this industry. But I went and got a black jumpsuit, which, okay, it was okay. The top like wouldn't stay shut. Then I was like, well, I need to look cute for the wedding because like I was also a guest at this wedding too.
Gosh.
I was not gonna, you know, not do it with her. So I wore my platforms were really big back then. Wore my, I'm not kidding you, they're this big, platform black heels. And I was stomping around in those all day. I was miserable.
I was say, how many blisters did you have?
Oh my gosh, I was so miserable. And I couldn't even like turn my camera vertical. I was just like hopping around this way. No telling like what she even like got out of me. But then I was like, oh my gosh, like I really do love this. Like talking to people, making people laugh, making people feel comfortable. Like, I don't know. I just like, I loved it.
That kind of opened up your world like, oh, like,
yes,
I could do this.
Yes. And so when I got home, my mom was like, should we buy you a camera? Like, do you really want to get into this? Do you really want to do it? And at that moment, I was scared, but I kind of felt like this could be my thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? I felt like, I think that's one thing about me my whole life. Like, I am not the most confident person, which I feel like a lot of people can relate to that.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to say probably 99%.
Yes. And I was even less confident because all my friends have these great career paths at that time. Had these great career paths. And then there was, as Taylor Swift would say, little old me. Right. You know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do? And I just dived headfirst into it. My friend Courtney Province now set me up with BJ Matthews. So that's how I got so lucky to be able to be mentored by literally like one of the greatest in this industry. I'm not kidding you. I always tell BJ I owe him my firstborn child. Like, like I owe him so much. I saw him at Courtney's wedding. He photographed it. And I was like, wow, that guy like knows what he's doing. I wish like I could, you know, just talk to him. Well, little did I know that I was going to then jump into like the best mentorship, friendship that I could ever ask for. And now here I am, August, 2 years will be 2 years full time in this. I was actually driving down the road yesterday with Garrett, and I was just thinking, like, it's back to school time. I've been seeing all the teachers post, like,
Yeah.
last day off or last week off or whatever it is. And I was just sitting there thinking in the truck, I was like, I am so thankful I do not have to go back.
When like this is like fits you, like
Yes.
it's like you're not, oh my gosh,
Yes.
I don't want to go to work.
Exactly. And that was the thing too, is like, I felt like at the very end of it, it's not fair for me to not give my all to the kids. Now, I'm not going to say that, you know, every day of teaching was bad. I felt like
Right.
I felt like a rock star sometimes,
Oh,
like
yeah.
walking through the hallways,
Yeah.
Miss Alexander, Miss
Yeah.
Alexander. You know, I miss all that, but to be able to like have my flexibility, do something I love,
And thrive.
I hope I'm thriving.
You
you know,
are.
You're
Oh my
thriving.
gosh.
but
Yeah.
well, thank y'all. But I'm very thankful, and I'm very big on what happens for a reason.
Yes.
And I think, all those times where I didn't know what I was doing, or it didn't work out,
Yeah.
like it did for everybody else, got me to where I am now, just as successful as all my other friends.
Oh,
yeah.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this, I feel like this, it can have like a stigma of this isn't a career and this is a career.
Let me tell you, if this isn't a career, then I don't know what is.
Literally consumes your whole life.
Yeah, absolutely.
People don't get it.
No, I mean, I can't go out to eat with my friends or have a wedding day where I'm
a
not,
weekend.
or a day off, where I'm not constantly thinking about like my business, like what can I do for my business? And sometimes that gets overwhelming,
Oh,
being
yeah.
a one woman show. We don't just take pictures. And I think that's what people, they don't realize that
Yeah.
No, the back end,
the emails,
the money, the taxes, the bookkeeping, the
Everything.
buying of gear, doing all the research.
Yes.
It's helping your clients. A lot of the times I feel like we're the people that, I mean, at least for me, I have clients that come to me and they're like, I was thinking about doing this. Do you think this is a good idea?
Yes.
Or, you know what I'm saying? And so you wear so many hats.
You even become like a stylist.
No,
literally.
I mean, for real, like,
And I feel like these brides, especially the brides that don't use a planner, I step into that role.
100%.
I step into that role, and it's not that I'm,
Yeah.
unhappy to do it, but I definitely think that with that comes
I mean, it takes away from our job.
exactly.
And it's like I had a wedding back this spring where there was a lot of things that went wrong, delivered the full gallery. They're like, where's this and this? And I was like, well, you asked me to go do this, this, and this because
Yeah.
nobody else could do it. You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying? And so,
That's why when I have my like initial phone call or like I've been doing meetings lately with my brides and I'm
Yeah.
like kind of loving it,
Yeah.
because I feel like sometimes on the phone like you don't really get to know the whole
Yeah.
me.
Right.
And my whole pitch on my phone calls and in person is like I just want to be your hype girl because
right.
I'm going to be around you the most and your wedding planner is going to be around you the most. But where was I just going with that, y'all?
You were going on when you're like meeting all these people that kind of telling the value of a planner.
Yes, a
Yes.
value of the planner because I can do everything, but you're not going to get the same amount of quality pictures.
Or even you're stretched. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And, I think planners are very valuable.
No,
Very.
I've talked to a couple photographers who have started a no planner fee, and it is a per hour fee, and that their whole thing is, I'm essentially stepping into the role as
As
planner.
a day of coordinator.
as
yeah.
a day of coordinator, so I'm going to be compensated for it. And they have said if you decide to use that money and go hire a day of coordinator or a planner or whoever, I will give you that money back. It's more of an
Yeah.
incentive, like, please take my learn from this.
No, I would completely give people money back
Yeah.
for them to,
But I
if I
mean-
had a policy like that.
And like we were talking, with Gretchen earlier, like my whole thing is like you need somebody that's not even just a day of coordinator because day of coordinator, they don't know you, they don't know
No.
your ideas.
And that makes another part of our job really hard.
very hard.
A couple weddings ago, I dealt with a day of coordinator, and I could just tell, like, she wasn't like,
In it.
Yeah.
yeah, like she just didn't do this every day,
Right.
you know, every weekend, you know what I mean? And I kind of had to like take the reins.
Yeah.
And that's stressful on me
Oh,
too,
yeah.
you know, like, am I going to put a bad taste in her mouth? Like, we're supposed to be working together as a team. The more unified we are with other vendors on a wedding day, the better.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, that no planner policy is, I think, is an amazing.
I mean, I honestly think that it should be an industry standard at this point because of the scale of weddings now. You know, used
yeah.
to people went to churches and they got married and that was just kind of it. They had a
Yes.
cake and
Potluck.
punch and
Yeah.
that was it. But now you have, I mean, they're whole events. This
Oh
is
my
a
gosh, yeah.
whole
a
event.
production.
Yes.
Yeah.
an
Literally.
entire production.
And not that I'm saying like I don't love the production, like it's
Oh.
great. I just kind of like I saw and I honestly almost saved it for y'all, but I listen, you know, like the vendor podcast, like
Vendor table.
vendor
Yeah.
table, and then there's this other one where this videographer does, and I cannot remember his name to save the life of me, but he read this like submission or like whatever, like
Yeah.
that they like a topic for
Yeah.
people to talk about on his podcast. And he was like, this person was like, I'm a wedding photographer of 12 years, but this is my final year. I'm done because I cannot handle the fact that my pictures are considered the final product for this wedding. And I was like, what is he talking about? Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I need to listen. And then he goes on to explain like the marriage used to be the final product. And
round of
now
applause right
because
there.
of, you know, situations like I feel like I can't even say it right. Sepia photographer
yes.
or
Sepia
whatever.
Gate or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm not even in that, so y'all might have to explain.
Well, it's this photographer, this girl, as far as I know, nobody come after me if I get something of this wrong. But it's this girl hires this photographer, and I think I actually am saying this wrong.
Okay, I'll say it.
You say it.
This girl hired this photographer. Her style is like, let's just say, you know, yours is true to color. Let's just pretend hers was not true to color, but it was consistent with her style.
Okay, like warm,
Her gallery,
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
a warm. Her galleries, her Instagram, it's all consistent.
Was it kind of like documentary style too, from like,
Maybe, I don't think that was her beef. Her beef was more coloring, and I
Okay.
will say this is where I see both sides, but this is where I think the bride messed up. The bride did not do an engagement session.
Oh.
always meet your photographer before?
Always.
And not even like the personality aspect. You're getting your engagement pictures back. That's going to be kind of a dictated of like, okay, this is what their coloring's like.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what their sunset coverage is like. Like, you need to get that
If
engagement
I don't
session.
like something she's doing, like
now is my time to pivot.
Yes.
So she did not do that, and that's where she made that's the whole mistake.
Right.
Because when she got her photos back, and I do agree, some of them, like, she complained that the photographer didn't like brighten her eyes, but it was a very cloudy day. Like, so this
sometimes
is
that stuff is out of our control.
Exactly.
out of control.
I mean,
So
exactly.
the issue is the vendor. I don't know if I think she did say she like sent out stuff, but for any vendor listening, send out full galleries of
yeah.
cloudy days,
Amen.
of sunny days, of indoor only weddings, outdoor only weddings. Send all of these galleries, because then if they come back to you, it's like, well, I sent you all of these.
Yes.
You know, but she come to find out she preferred true to color. So she literally trashed all the things on TikTok and just kept going at this photographer when the photographer fulfilled her contract,
Yes.
did exactly, even went above and beyond to try to tweak
Make it
what she
right.
wanted. But she finally said, we're not going to come to a conclusion because you're wanting me to edit true to color. That's
I don't do that.
not me.
And if you
No.
don't do that, it's very hard to do.
Yes.
Like,
Oh,
if
yeah,
you don't
yeah, yeah.
know, it's very hard to do.
And so then she asked for raws, and the photographer agreed and said, okay, well, this is the price of raws. And then she trashed her for the price of raws. And it's like, it was just all, but it was a good educational moment for vendors, for
Well, for
brides,
everybody all
for
across the
everyone.
board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I was just sitting there in that photographer's place, like thinking about if I
Yeah.
was her and saying she hasn't done anything wrong. Like
Right.
in my
No,
opinion,
no,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like that's one advice like I really give. And I haven't been the best at like, I feel like listening to my own words, you know,
Right.
but like do your research on your vendors, figure out exactly who you are and what you want your day to look like.
Amen.
And we've even said, an engagement session could be what, $400 or $500, maybe a little bit more, like maybe a little less, it depends. But wouldn't you rather be out, like get an engagement session? Wouldn't you rather be out that money
Oh
and
my
decide,
gosh.
you know what? I don't like the style. I don't like how we interacted together during the day. I don't
Right.
like the color,
Yes.
and pivot. Or you're going to be out thousands of dollars in a
Literally.
terrible experience, a moment you can't recreate. It's an investment, and you have to look at it as an investment.
Oh yeah, I agree. I
And
agree.
and I'm not going to say which vendor like that happened to me with, but yeah, like I was just, something happened and I thought to myself, is this how I want my wedding day to go? Could
Right.
this happen, this
Right.
instance happen on my wedding day?
Right.
And I said, it is what it
And I
is.
kind of love how you said that you're starting to do even like in-person meetings with
Oh yeah,
potential clients.
because number one, like I want them to know me. Like, yes, in my personal life, like I'm a little bit scatterbrained, but when it comes to my business, I take it very seriously.
Yeah.
I want them to know that, if your planner's not there, I'm going to be the next best option for you.
Right.
Yep.
Like, I want to know their vision. Like, I want to create. I think that's what a lot of people in this business do wrong is they're out there for the money.
Yeah, they don't create
Or
the connection.
the
Yes.
portfolio. This will
And-
look good for my portfolio.
Yes.
Right.
And yes, all that is fine and well. Like, get those big weddings that are going to get your ideal clients. Like,
Right.
do all that. But at the end of the day, like, I think this is just where, like, my personality and like my thought process comes in. If I'm not like BFFs with one of my wedding vendors, like, I'm not going to trust them.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
And I want to be like, to a certain extent,
Right.
like I feel like I haven't had a bride yet that I haven't walked away with like,
Oh, you feel like they're family.
Exactly. And a good experience with. But I want to start that relationship like as early as possible.
Yes.
If I can start it with your mother, I want your mom to come along with you, your sister, whoever is going to be right beside you. Mm-hmm. I want to start that relationship with you because that just means it's going to be more fun and we're going to know each other well. Like, I'll know if y'all don't like to do your heads right side by side, or I'll know
Right.
like your fiance like doesn't like this side of his face.
Or
like,
maybe you and your dad aren't the huggy feely kind
Yes.
of relationship.
Yes,
I
yes.
cringed so hard last year at a wedding because I knew, because I had a close relationship with the bride, that yes, her and her dad, that's her dad. Like,
Yeah.
her parents are still married. It wasn't
Yeah.
anything weird like that. But like, they're just not super close. She's more close with her mom. Well, the videographer was like, Dad, can you lean in and give her a kiss on the cheek? And I mean, you could immediately tell
You could feel the
on
tension,
the
yeah.
yes, that they were so uncomfortable. Everybody just paused and like looked at each other, and the videographer was like, yeah, like give her a kiss. I mean, like, and just kept
you have to read the
going
room.
on and on and on.
Gotta
And I
read
was
the
like,
room.
I want to crawl under a rock, and this isn't even me right now, know.
Yeah.
So it is so important to create those connections and like really know your people,
Yeah.
you know.
And so playing on that, what I've realized the past couple weddings we've had rehearsal dinner coverage, because a lot of times we don't have engagement sessions with our
yeah.
couples, like
Right.
for videographers. And so a lot of times we're just meeting on like FaceTime or things like that because they'll be, we're not close enough to have like an
Exactly.
in-person meeting. Anyways, I love it when they book the photographer and videographer for rehearsal dinner, because not only are we seeing family dynamic, we're seeing bridesmaids, groomsmen, we're seeing so much that I feel like we're all one big group. And then
Yes.
on the wedding day, it's like an extension. We're not the meeting and figuring each other
Yes.
out. We've already met, we've already figured each other out.
Yep.
And now the wedding day is just like seamless.
And recently, like, I've had a bride that I met her mother, I met her grandma. I literally love them so much. Like, we were just texting not too long ago. And I feel like, I love her
Yeah.
to say the least. And they have a strange relationship with the groom's mother. Mm-hmm. Well, now the groom's mother is reaching out to me, wanting the pictures.
Oh gosh.
I'm not allowed to give them the
No.
pictures,
They're
and
not there. Yeah.
and that's fine. But if I wouldn't have made a relationship with them and known that
What's going on.
Yeah. I would have just, okay, yeah, like,
Yeah.
Here you go.
you know, I saw you
Yeah.
on wedding day. We took pictures
Yeah.
and, you know, and that makes me kind of sad for them. But I'm thankful that I've created enough of a relationship with them that I can help put out that fire.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I tell them all the time, I'm like, because we've had instances where maybe a stepmom even, or not, you know, it's like, I really want her out of the room. I want this moment to be just, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm like, oh, let me be the bad guy.
Oh, I'm always the bad guy.
I tell everybody I'm your wedding day scapegoat. If you don't want to do something, you say, "Oh, the photographer said we're not doing that today."
Yeah. Like,
I always like use the excuse like when you can like I just, you know, and call me, you know, whatever you want, but I do not like when people watch the bride and groom do their first look.
Oh, I hate it.
Like nobody wants to give you your like there. Then I'm gonna get on a whole nother tangent about first looks, but nobody wants to watch. I mean, have them be watched. You know, yourself be watched
It's
while
such
you're
a
having
vulnerable moment.
It's so vulnerable, and it's like it's so intimate, and it's like I don't want my mom listening to what I have to say to my husband right now.
Exactly.
You know?
I'm like, y'all, I'm sorry. I only shoot first looks with everybody out of the room. Like, I'm so sorry.
Yep.
But, you know, it's worked for me and I haven't.
And a lot of times they won't bat an eye. It's like, okay, that's the photographer thing, whatever. They won't even like, or maybe they roll their eyes and they walk away. But the bride and groom are never in the, like, no one's ever thinking wrong about them. It's like, let me be the bad guy, whatever you need. I don't care.
Hey guys, just wanted to take a brief pause in the episode to tell you thank you for supporting our podcast. It would mean the world to us if you could subscribe to whatever platform you are listening on. Let's get back to the episode.
We're gonna deep dive on you being a bride.
Yes, you're a bride.
Because it is not every day that we get to have a vendor that is also getting married.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, okay, so let's first of all talk about, like, has anything surprised you in terms of wedding planning?
I did not think that literally the guest list was going to be the hardest part of this whole process. Like, I thought it was going to be finding my dress. I thought it was going to be, you know, picking out my flowers, something like that. But no, this guest list has almost like killed me. And Jessica, my planner, Jessica McEwen, shout out to her. I love her very much. She was like, this is the hardest part of your whole wedding. I just want you to.
Okay, let me ask why. So is it like narrowing down people, or is it like trying hard to like, oh, I feel like I need to invite them. If I invite them,
then I have to invite them.
Not so much that, but like my parents. Mm-hmm. I mean, my mom literally knows
everybody,
right?
Everybody and their son or daughter, whatever that saying is. The more people you have, the more money you have to spend.
Because it's kind of like per head.
Yes. Well, and it's not, it's per head, but people just think it's for alcohol and food. No, I have to have a chair for you, which is such and such money. I have to have a table for you, which I have to have a linen, a floral arrangement. I have to have silverware for you. You have to have a drinking glass for you. You have to have a charger, a plate.
There's a lot that goes into it.
A napkin, like it literally, like the list can go on and I'm not going to bore y'all with it.
But they essentially say, like, nowadays with inflation and everything, you're paying $150 to $250 and upwards per person that comes to your wedding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I see that now. And, you know, there's people that I want to come to my wedding, but if they didn't show up on day of, would I like necessarily like
be upset.
And I've just gone into the process of like, this is Garrett and I's wedding.
Yes.
And we have to do what we want to do.
Amen.
And you know what I mean? Like, and that's fine. Like, I finally got it to where our guest list is great. Hopefully 188 people will show up. And
which is a good big number.
It's a good number, but like I'm used to going to weddings that have 300-400 people at it. Like most of my friends, that's what their weddings were. And like, yes, I love that, but like, I don't want to spend my whole night talking to everybody.
Okay,
you took the words right out of my mouth.
Let's be honest. On a normal night, could you talk to that many people?
She's like, depends.
Yeah, it depends. But Garrett would say, yes, I could talk to that many people in one night.
You want to be on the dance floor too.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
I hate to tell everybody, but like, soon as we do our first dance, mom and dad dance and me cut the cake, I'm literally out there.
Well, it's like, you want to talk to me? Come meet me on the dance floor.
Yes, like
Literally.
get a picture with me on the dance floor. No, I'm you know me. I
Yeah.
love pictures, so I'm
Yeah.
going to take pictures with everybody. But I want to enjoy my night. And one of my favorite weddings was, it always comes back to her, my best friend Kaylee's. We literally walked in, which I'm not doing
An entrance.
an entrance
Good
with
for
like
you.
the
Yeah.
with
Good
like
for
the
you.
bridal party. I feel like that's
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
Overdone.
overdone, and it's just like they don't want to
No one
do that
cares.
especially at
No one cares.
especially at 32 years old. You know, those boys just want to have a
Well, the
drink in
groomsmen,
their hand.
exactly. They're like, can we go to the bar?
Yes.
Right.
And we walked in after this wedding, me and my other best friend, Maddie Meek now, grabbed a drink, and we were on that dance floor all freaking night. And
Yeah.
that was like before DJ Xavier got like,
Big.
I feel like,
Yeah.
I feel like that was like one of his like first weddings, and he was playing the tunes. And I just remember like, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
you know,
You'll
So-
never forget.
yes.
Your reception.
And it was a smaller wedding, like it was about my size.
Yeah.
And so she got to see everybody, and, you know, it was a great wedding.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
For your reception, how did you pick, band or DJ? What was your thoughts?
My deal is like, I love DJs, and I always thought that I was going to have a DJ. I always thought I was going to have DJ Jelly Bean. I love him. I love him. And I've already talked to Bean about this,
Yeah.
but I always thought I was going to have a DJ. And Garrett literally was like, this is my one request. I want a band.
I love a band.
And
Love it.
the
Love a
more
band.
and more like I got into this industry and like starting to having higher budget weddings, it was all bands, and they're all interactive, and they're all all this
much fun.
stuff.
It's a concert.
Oh,
Yes.
a mini concert for
Yes.
you and your guests. Yeah.
So I'm using Braylon with Diamond Empire Band. I love him so much. He's done 3 or 4 of my friends' weddings. It's a party all the time.
Right.
I recommend him to every single one of my brides that wants a band. If you want a great band, call Braylon. Like, he will get the party started for you. And then, crazy story, him and Garrett went to high school together.
Oh,
Yes.
So
yes,
full circle.
yes.
That's awesome.
So I love that. I love that too. But no, we're doing a band,
I love
and
bands.
I will probably grab the mic and have
Good.
myself a little
Yes.
karaoke
you
time.
should. You should.
So was it harder for you now that you know the backside of weddings? Was it harder for you picking vendors? Like, did you feel more pressure or?
I feel like as a vendor, I feel like I haven't had pressure with who I choose as vendors. I feel like where the pressure comes from is because I am a vendor, and people, you know, brides say, you know, see I'm getting married. Oh, she's probably going to have this like big extravagant wedding, and like the
yeah.
pressure that like
I
comes
agree.
behind with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like thus far in my career, I have not seen another vendor get married. Like
Right.
them themselves get married. I
Right,
feel like
yeah.
I'm the first one
Yeah.
that I've seen, and not that like that's cool or anything.
Right.
I just kind of wish like I
Yeah.
knew somebody that had gotten married that was a vendor, so I could like maybe like ask some questions of like how to navigate this and like all that kind of stuff. But I just told my friends, I've told, you know, anybody that's coming to my wedding, I'm not going to be your biggest budget wedding, but we're just here to have a good time. And at the end of the day, I feel like, you know, when I'm making all these decisions and like do I need a trolley? Do I need, you know, this extra floral
Whatever.
arrangement?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm not letting any of these decisions get in front of the real reason why I'm here. And I feel like that gets lost a lot in this industry that we're in right now, or this time period that we're in right now,
Yes, it
because
does.
of social
I
media.
would say social media for sure.
I agree with that man that we talked about earlier. What I give y'all should not be
The last of it.
the final product. Like, your marriage should be the final product. And I have found the best guy. I couldn't ask for a better future husband, fiance. And I'm not going to mess that up just because
You
of
get
a wedding.
clouded with
You
the
really
pressure
do.
and
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
I mean, and I see all the time. I mean, the divorce rate is so high.
It's so
You know, you
high.
don't want to talk about having clients that have gotten divorced, but I've been in the industry for 10 years now and it's
Yes.
happened,
Yes,
you know.
exactly.
And it's sad because a lot of the times this is going to sound terrible, but I can look back and there were red flags. You know, you can walk in and you can tell, oh, these people love each other, or oh, I don't know how this is going to end.
They'll make it
And
to
you
a
know
year or
what?
5 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? That's also like, I never thought I'd say this on camera, but that's also like another fear like I have, that like people are going to see how high stressed I am because I'm trying to like uphold
This
persona
persona that you're just cool, calm, collected.
yes,
Yeah.
and have anxiety and whatever. Well, like I would never want someone to be like, oh, she doesn't love Garrett,
Right.
because she's trying to uphold this.
Keeping
Yeah.
up with
Big-
the Joneses.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And, you know, I probably will have anxiety on my day just because, and BJ told me it during my engagement session. He told me 2 rules to start the engagement session. We're going to have fun and you're not in control. And so he had to lay it right on the line.
gotta
But
love
he's-
BJ.
but
Love
I mean,
BJ.
he's not wrong.
No.
And that's what I wish so many brides, like there are so many type A people out there that cannot let go.
Yes.
And like you have to let go.
But that's when, then I feel like this leads into another conversation of, if you can't let go, you have to hire the vendors that you know can get their job done. So that's another part of wedding planning that I feel like is badly talked about, is how much our vendors cost. Yes, weddings are expensive. Do I want to pay all this money for a wedding? No. If I could get it cheaper, I wish I could. But
Right.
I'm choosing vendors that I know are worth every single penny
You're
that
not
I'm paying.
you're not going to get to your wedding day and be like, well,
Oh,
that was a
no.
disappointment.
Exactly.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people skimp when they come to their planners.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
And that's why I hired Jessica McEwen, because I know that whatever fire it is going to be put out, every vendor is going to be there on time, is going to be doing their job correctly. All my groomsmen are going to be know where they are. She has all their numbers if,
Yeah.
they're not. I know if my champagne glass gets halfway empty during the reception, she's going to be there to fill it up.
You're not even going to know if there is even fires.
Exactly.
No,
exactly.
exactly.
And that was like my biggest thing, like going into this wedding is, my whole life, me and my mom have been like, oh, we don't need a planner. We don't need a planner. Yada, yada, yada. As soon as I started shooting weddings, I was like, I love you, Deanne, but we're getting a planner and
Yeah.
we're paying good money for her. And she's worth every single dime. But then another thing too, it's like people, like we were talking about earlier, people wanted to have their friend shoot their wedding.
Yeah.
I got a friend that's going to shoot my wedding. No. I got 2 of the best in Arkansas in the industry and that love to do it, and I'm very comfortable with them.
Right.
Sarah, Tokai, and BJ, of course.
Yeah.
But I feel like I really do have like a dream
Team.
team in like all areas.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm excited about it.
I mean, I just feel like you really just can't skimp anymore. Because
No.
there's so many people that have gotten into the industry just thinking, oh, I'm going to make money.
Quick dollar.
You know? And so it's vetting your vendors and knowing 100% that they can do the job.
If they know how to make a quick dollar, let me know,
Yeah.
because what I'm doing clearly is
Right.
a lot, more is what I do, I put in a lot more.
Amen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Amen.
And I feel like what you even talked about, what if you need to hire, not like, oh, you have to have 2 years of experience, nothing like that.
No.
But you have to have some level of experience, because what if you're put in a situation where your couple is like super stressed out,
Yeah.
and like if that person can't handle it, if that vendor
Oh my
can't handle it,
gosh.
and then they start to spiral, it's like we have to be the strong person.
And I feel like that,
Yeah.
like, in my circumstance, like, that goes back to my mentorship with BJ. I would not shoot a wedding BJ was like, when are you going to like book a wedding? Like, come on. And
He's like, fly your wings, you're ready.
Dude,
Right.
oh, Lord. But I said, no, I'm not taking on my wedding or taking on a wedding until I know for sure I've seen this situation, this situation, this situation, this situation. So my whole first year of like photography, like when I considered it like my
Right.
very first year, I would like do family sessions and like little seniors, but I second shot with BJ
Yeah.
like as much as like he would let me.
Like you said, if you go through that moment, you can absorb like, okay, things like this can go wrong on a wedding
Yes.
day. Now I know how to handle it.
Yes.
And I have that experience in my tool belt.
Yes.
Right. So tell us about wedding dress shopping.
It was so much fun. But I kind of have like a little I kinda have
spiel?
a little spiel.
Yeah.
But so I actually went wedding dress shopping before me and Garrett got engaged.
Okay.
I mean, this happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
No.
But I just like had this whole thing built up in my head. It's like swimsuit shopping.
Yes.
Like it's miserable.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
And I just have to say, like, some wedding dress stores in Arkansas, like, I mean, we're very lucky to have the vendors that we have.
Really are. Yeah.
And I mean, I can say this like in all areas. Like, I feel like the vendors in Arkansas are like top tier. Like, yeah, it may take a couple years for like trends to get here, but when they get here,
Like we're doing it good.
yes. And so I went to Inverness first.
Okay.
Literally loved it. Like that was before before we got engaged.
Okay.
But it's just like I just didn't know how it was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be simple. I didn't know if it was going to be hard. I just wanted to have an idea.
Yeah.
But you've never done it. So that's like
Yes.
totally normal. Like you
Yes.
kind of want to, yeah.
So I went there. Lee, the owner, she's just awesome. Like I love her. I didn't end up finding the one I loved there. Then I went to Tesori in June in Fayetteville.
Yeah.
Yep.
With my future mother-in-law and future sister-in-law.
Aw.
And it was so much fun. I thought I found the one. It was actually like, I'm not going to say it's a dupe, but like, it literally looked identical to Paris Hilton's
Okay. Hers was
Okay.
really
It
pretty.
was.
wedding
very
dress.
pretty.
Yeah.
And I was like, me and Paris.
Yeah.
Same style. No, didn't end up falling in love with her, but the girls at Tesori went. I had this like vision because we shoot these weddings every weekend.
You see dresses
and I
all the
literally
time.
love. I mean, I don't think I've had a bride that's picked out a dress that like I didn't
Right.
love, but was it the dress for me?
Right.
No. And so I didn't want, the typical what everybody I feel like is getting right now, like the full satin,
Right.
either
Yeah.
envelope or the
Bow
bow,
or the peak.
Yeah.
like
Whatever you wanna call that.
asymmetrical,
Yes.
Yeah.
whatever. Those dresses are gorgeous, but I'm also like not a stick,
Right.
That can like fit into one of those little numbers.
Right.
So I had this vision, and after I went to after I went to Inverness that day, I went to Unveiled.
Okay.
And I tried on all these dresses. Betsy is just the best. Like
She is.
I love Betsy. And because I also love her because like she's a straight shooter.
Right.
Like I was semi like kind of worried because my sister is like my like voice of reason and like like you love your friends, but like
Yeah.
are they really gonna tell you like
The truth.
The truth.
The
Yeah.
truth.
Let me tell you, my sister will tell me the truth. And I love her for it. I do love her for it. And I didn't have Abby with me. So I was like, do I really like these dresses at
Right.
these other places?
Right.
But so we went to Unveiled and I tried on them one time and I was like, none of these are it. None of these are it. Well, Betsy said, just wait. Like, come back. And when you're ready, because I literally went like before I even got engaged.
Right.
2 days ago was me and Garrett's 365 days of being fiancés. So our engagement anniversary.
Yeah.
But so I made my appointment a couple days before Christmas, and my best friend Kaylee was there. Karen, my future mother-in-law, Peyton, future sister-in-law, Abby was finally in from Charleston, so she was there, and my mom was there. And Betsy was like, I had this dress like flown in for you. And I was like, for me? Really?
Oh.
And so she was like, literally nobody else in Arkansas like has even, seen the dress. you know,
Yeah.
I feel like it's you, like written all over you. Well, I walked over to where she had all the dresses hung up, and I immediately like pulled it out, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. And she was like, that's it. So I put it on, and I just like, I like fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And at first, like, you know, not everybody in the room like loved it, but then we kept trying on dresses and trying on dresses, and I just kept like going back to that one because it was the very first dress I tried on that day. So you know,
Yeah.
everybody's like a little hesitant.
They're like, oh, it's just because it's the first.
yeah.
Right.
And so my sister actually like loved this other dress on me, and we were actually talking about it like a month ago, and I said, Abby, like, have you realized like how many people like have had that dress that like you loved on me? And she was like, yeah. She was like, even though I still think it's a gorgeous dress on you, I'm so thankful. Like,
That you didn't.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, that even speaks to like just staying true to yourself, like
Yes.
because everyone has this dress or that dress. It feels like, oh, I have to have that dress or it's not
Yes.
gonna look good.
And no, I didn't want something that like and you know, I'm not trying to be like a trendsetter or like
Right.
anything like that, you know, but like
But
I
staying
just
true to
wanted
you.
something that was true to myself, that was different than everybody.
Yeah.
And I found her, and
Good. I
I
can't
can't
wait to
wait for
see her.
everybody to see it.
I know.
Y'all might think it's the ugliest dress in the world,
No.
but
No.
I
Are you taking bridals?
oh yeah.
Okay, so that's another thing is take your engagement session, take
Yes.
your bridals.
Or
Yes.
can you share where you're doing bridals? Do you know?
I'm gonna do Edgemont House.
You
I
can't
mean,
beat
like,
it.
you cannot beat that
No,
place.
I
If they
agree.
were big enough to like have my whole wedding there,
Would you?
I would do it. Yes, I shot one of my very best friend, Hannah St. Pierre's. Her and Mark, her husband's there. My first, like, I feel like big year of photography. It is. I mean,
Gorgeous.
I wish I would have known now what I. You know, I wish I would have known then what I know now. I would have done a couple things differently. Her whole gallery, though, is like
Fire.
fire. Fire. Shout out Hannah to your gallery. Thanks for taking a chance on me. But no, I mean, that place is awesome. And they're not doing weddings anymore.
What?
Yep. They're
I'm
not doing
really
weddings
bummed.
Sad.
because the owner just got married and they want to have their like little
Oh, in a long time. I
yeah.
get that.
I mean,
So
I get it.
it has to be hard. 150 people coming in every Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
But they're still doing sessions and like little
go.
like events.
Things.
Yeah.
Cool.
Before we wrap up this episode, tell us either as a photographer your dream place to go and have a wedding, like to shoot a wedding, or a tip or something for a couple that like what is a piece of advice you like to give couples?
My dream place would probably be like Greece. I mean, like,
Come on.
literally. it's
Anybody
just,
getting married in Greece?
holla at
Yeah.
you, girl. But and then my like little tip of advice for like a wedding like
Yeah,
a bride
wedding
and
couple.
groom. I feel like just stay true to yourself. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what your best friend did 7 months ago. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what your favorite influencer on
Yes.
did. Like not everybody's gonna love my wedding colors, which are like bright pink.
I love it.
Like give me all the color.
Yes.
Bright pink, peach tones, a little bit of yellow, green hydrangeas, like light pink. Like
Ooh,
not
fun.
everybody's gonna love that. But if you want to have like a bright blue and green and red and purple, like a rainbow
Whatever.
wedding,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
And also like just I feel like this time like has like flown by. Like I'm so thankful like I have Garrett sometimes to like bring me like back into check, like Faith, like this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
You know,
This
and
is
like
a good moment.
That's another thing. I feel like people don't talk about the hard times in wedding planning as
Yeah.
much as they should. And that's another also thing to like a tip to like realize like
Well, be aware.
yes, be aware that there are going to be some hard times coming, but don't let it take away from like while you're there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
So
Absolutely.
That'd be my little
I think that's
advice.
a really good tip. Tell everyone where they can find you.
at Instagram, Faith Alexander Photo, or send me an email at faithalexanderphoto@gmail.com.
There we go. I
Perfect,
love
yeah.
it. Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
We're so
I can't-
stoked.
Okay, post wedding. We want you on post wedding.
Oh my
Yeah, so we
gosh.
can talk
Yeah.
about it.
Call me.
Yeah.
No, it's happening.
Yeah.
Call me.
It's
We'll,
happening.
we'll even can Garrett come with you?
Oh, We'll get him on
That
the
would be
podcast.
so
Yeah.
fun.
We'll get him on the podcast.
That would
Yeah.
be so fun.
He actually probably would eat it up.
No,
So-
that would be so
Good.
much fun to just say just go about all your wedding, talk about
Tell
it.
us about your day and
Yeah.
all the
We
things.
can do it all. We can do it
Okay,
all.
Perfect.
See you next
Yay!
time.
All right. Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
As we finish this episode, we want to say a big thank you to all of the support on our podcast. You can find us at Black Tie Opt Podcast. We are on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Thank you so much for supporting our podcast.